So now I just paint a bit more of the shadow than there is in the reference, which is no problem. You can always paint too much shadow and then go into it with the light color. Because mostly all the shadow tones are semi-opaque, so they're transparent. And you can always go into transparent color with whites, and many of the light colors that I use, like white and ochre and also Naples yellow, they are all opaque and you can go with them into every transparent area. On the other hand, black, for example, isn't transparent. It's opaque, and when you go into black with another color, it will mix and it will look ugly. But look how the color will mix when I go with an opaque color into a transparent color on the lip. So I'm doing that right now. I'm using this red here and a bit of the cadmium red light. I think a bit of this one too, a bit more red. Let's see if this was the right mix. I'm starting here at the corner of the lip, and I can go easily over this transparent area. You see? It's perfect. It just perfectly blends, or even it's almost as if you have added it on top of it without it mixing with the first color on the canvas, which is great. And now when I go around the edges, I just clean the brush a bit and go around the edge. And now you see how great it mixes with the color. Here you have a wonderful gradient now. Yeah, I'm just doing this with the bottom lip now. Cadmium Red Dark Deep. Yeah, this is the right name. Cadmium Red Deep is a red tone you will probably not need often, but you can't mix it with other colors. So this is definitely a tone that you probably need. Or you can use it with, or you can mix it with cadmium red light and permanent red violet. But I really like to have this tone on my palette because it's a good red tone. There might be other red tones, but I'm pretty happy with it, so I haven't tried any other red tones out. Also, this is an opaque tone. It's not a transparent tone. Many red tones are transparent, and yeah, you don't really need that except for shadows. So you definitely need an opaque red tone. So I'm going to make this area here, which is a bit of a mid-tone shadow. And yeah, for the shadows I just use this ultramarine and permanent red violet to make these nice shadows here. And now I have to blend it into the cadmium red of the lip, of a bottom lip. And with such a small portrait, I can pretty much use the same brush for almost everything. I might change it for her cheek or maybe for the forehead, but until now I came pretty far with this brush. Okay, it doesn't look like much, to be honest. So I'm gonna add the highlight here too. Just a bit of a grayish, bluish highlight. Just a brush stroke here, nothing more. And I'm now going to... Oh, now I have too much Gamsol on my brush again. This is annoying. I have to make the border of the lip now. Her skin tone is pretty orange, so I have to use a lot of cadmium red light here. ochre and white to get this orange tone. Like this. I'm not sure if this is the exact tone, we'll see when I put my brush on the canvas. I also add liquid to it. This is important to get the right consistency. I think this is a good skin tone. It's really orange. I might change that because I think it might be too much. So I'm adding a bit of white into it. And interestingly, her highlights are more green. So I'm mixing this lemon, cadmium, yellow lemon with Severus blue, and then I add white. This should give me a good green for the highlights. And we have here a highlight directly over her lip. So I'm adding that. And under her lip we have another highlight. So I'm just looking now what color we have directly around her lip. This is important because we want to have a nice border. Nothing is more annoying than having an ugly border and a too harsh border, for example, and also the wrong color. So I'm just looking which color we have here. And so I'm changing the brush now. Maybe this Filbert brush can help me, I will see. Most of the time I just randomly grab brushes and see if they are helpful, which they are not every time. So many times I just have to try out 5 brushes until I'm happy and I think I can work with them. I think this one might be good, but there's some hairs coming out the brush, which are annoying. So with this brush I can make a nice border around her lip. So I can very carefully just go over the border of her lip. And this makes it more smooth. And I would also do it like this. Just having a smooth border, this is important. It looks less amateur-like and more professional and more realistic. I definitely like it, instead of having those harsh borders. So there's still the problem with the highlight though, because I can't see it anymore. I will first connect the nose area with her lip, and I need this white highlight color, which is directly around this nostril here, this greenish highlight color. It's directly here. Then we have more of it over here. And I have to use more color. Don't use not enough color. This is not good. Then it won't look as bright. The more color you use and the more paint you put on your canvas, the more bright it gets and the more intense the colors and the paint will be in the end. If you paint so fine, however, it's hard to use much color, so I'm probably always using not enough paint to make a really bright painting. So this is the skin tone that I just mixed, and I'm adding it here under her nostril. And I'm trying to connect now the nostril here and the nose and the area directly over her lip. with her lip. This is such a small area, but you have to put a lot of attention in every little detail of the focal point. So this face is the focal point, it is very important, and yeah, I have to pay attention to every small detail here. Oh no, there's Gamsol on my brush again. I need a darker tone here for the shadow. I might need a brush with only one hair sometime. I will probably have to buy that, because it gets harder and harder to paint so small. Here's another shadow. I'm just stipping it here very carefully. And I will also have to go against it from the other side as well. Maybe with this brush here again. And carefully smooth the edge of it. Yeah, this little detail, just every little detail takes so much time and care, and this way it really can take long to finish a portrait. But it is definitely worth it, and it's also very relaxing, so don't be stressed about it that you take so much time for it. This is totally normal. I'm just able to finish a lot of oil paintings because I do it full time. Otherwise, I only finished an oil painting a month back then when I would work in a company. So I'm going to blend now this area here, which I just filled in with paint, and I used pretty much thick paint, so now I'm using a very dry brush like this, no Gamsol on it, nothing. It has to be super dry. And now I'm going very carefully over this area here. And what you also need is a paper towel or a lint-free towel, and clean your brush after every stroke. So like that. The area over the eye is way too dark and grayish, so I have to go over it with a lighter color. But before I do that, I want this area to be smooth, especially the border to the eyebrow. Look how wonderful it smoothes out. This is my favorite part. If you have seen my last oil painting tutorial, I would go crazy on this part. I like it so much because the effect is so strong. I just have to go over it and it looks so great. Like so smooth, you don't have to do anything, it almost is automatically. And yeah, the crucial thing is that the brush is dry and clean. If you have the slightest atoms of your oil paint medium or Gamsol in it, it won't work, just will destroy everything. So keep that in mind. So I have this area very smooth now. It looks beautifully smooth, but now I need this to be lighter. So I'm going to mix this yellow highlight tone here. I decided to take this larger brush because it can hold more paint, and now where I already have a lot of paint on the canvas, I need to have a brush which can really add paint to the canvas. So like that. Okay, it looks very clumsy. So what I do now is I take the same brush and I will carefully work it into the skin here. I could also just wait until the paint is dry and then do it. So don't have to do it everything in the first layers. I just couldn't wait. I wanted to have this area more light. And you can't do it all the time. So sometimes there's at one point there's just too much paint on the canvas already. What I do now is that I just fill in the rest of the face. I want to also show you how to fill out the nose separately, so I will do that in an instant. While I'm trying to just fill out the remaining parts of the skin, I also always correct the parts that I already painted, because sometimes I go accidentally over those parts, or I just notice that I had painted them too small, or the values are wrong. So I'm never perfect with them, and I always find mistakes while I'm painting on them. So I just wanted to show you that this is part of my process too. And yeah, so I also just forget to paint the pupils apparently. And the eyes might be still too small, so I might have to enlarge them furthermore. With the first layer it will be, everything is smudgy, so don't be disappointed if you don't get the same results. Like, I'm struggling right now to get those results that I expect with a larger face, and it's very difficult, and so don't be disappointed if you don't reach it in the first try. Also, a face will look better the more layers you have put on it. So if you need 5 layers, that's perfect. It will look even better. It will look more brighter and more saturated. So yeah, don't stress about that. painting the nose now. You might see, or you might notice that this area here around the eye, although it is smooth, it has still the wrong color values. So after I will have filled out the entire face, I will probably go over a lot of areas like this one and correct some of the values. So it won't stay like that. In case you've wondered, many areas might look good when you paint them, and then when you've painted the rest of the face, you will see how odd they look actually. Okay, and one of you have asked me if I would do a nose perspective from the front. So I will definitely do that. And especially when I have a portrait from the front, I will definitely do a tutorial about that. But honestly, you don't really need that. When you see like my approach, that I just copy what I see, so that I look what color I see on my reference, and then I just copy the exact color. This approach should be enough. Like if you see how I paint skin tones, for example, just try to copy exactly what you see and observe it. And what is also very helpful when you have a nose or just other parts that are as complicated is that you always start with the most difficult parts. So I like to start with the nostril. Like you see that I already drew the nostril there, and it is helpful to put down or to draw the areas where all details come together, where you have the highest complexity, when you paint this area first. And after this you can relax a bit and paint the remaining part of this thing that you painted. And with the nose, it is helpful to just observe the nostrils and follow the shadows and try to understand what's going on. It's also helpful if you just see how different noses look. For example, watch your parents, watch your friends, and try to look how their noses look. Look in the mirror, observe your own nose, and try to understand how these like nostrils actually go, because they are a little bit like a snail and they go under the part in the middle and then they come out at the sides. And yeah, just observe it close enough. And you can also try to draw it before you actually paint it, especially if you are not that experienced already. I won't recommend that you do the transfer method that I used for this painting, because it prevents you from learning what you actually paint. I just do it because I painted and drew so many things already without any transfer methods that I can allow myself to do that. But I still do a lot of sketches, I still draw without references, so that I never forget how to draw and how to stay in proportions, how to actually understand what I'm drawing. This is true for everything that you paint and that you draw. Like if it's a nose from the front or from the side, just observe it close enough and long enough. I hope that helped. But still, I will do a tutorial from a frontal nose position as soon as I have a portrait where I paint in this position. Maybe I will do the next while painting portrait in this. So what I do here, is that I just look on my reference and I just notice that there is a little mid-tone, almost a shadow on the tip of her nose. So depending on where the light comes from, in this case, this is flashlight from a camera. It is not natural light, and the lighting then is totally different. So we don't have a shadow, for example, under her nose, or we don't have a shadow in parts of the portrait where we would classically drew them or paint them. Normally you have directly here a shadow and here too. So you just have to, but what I do is I just copy what I see. I just take every single fold and weird shape that I see and try to get the right colors in place. And when I think I did that, I still have to correct a lot when I filled everything out with color, because then I see how the actual color values are. I'm just going to fill out the rest now. So I almost finished filling out the entire face with the skin tone that I mixed, and for the little bit larger areas, I used this flat Tosh brush. I find that I can easily paint and have the best control, and I also can make very clean brush strokes. So for example, when I want to fill out this little area here around her mouth, I can easily use the edge of the brush without taking a smaller brush. And for the bottom area, I can use the whole brush and make this brush stroke, for example. This is why I really prefer the flat brushes. This is it for this oil painting tutorial. The last part of the process I show in time-lapse. I hope it was helpful for you and I could show you my process. If you have any questions, leave a comment, and thank you so much for your support, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye bye!